Hi, I'm Michelle Boulé. Thank you so much for tuning in to Honor Your Inner Creator. I know I'm biased about this artist that you're about to listen to because she worked with me for a few years and I was blessed to witness and guide her through so much. And like any satisfying relationship, Elizabeth helped me grow too. And I'm so excited for you to hear what she has to share. And what's interesting also is after we recorded this, she sent me an email within hours of listing all these other things that happened for her as a result of her commitment to showing up over the years through her fear, her vulnerability, her courage, her light, and for this particular artist, her love. So, warning as you listen, we are two super right-brained artists, so we start to flow and get a little abstract in the beginning before we get our groove on, but just relax and tune into what's coming through. Because you will hear some inspiring lessons and growth stories to help remind you that you're here to shine your light in whatever way is true for you. And it's all possible, and it's so worth it. You are so worthy of having support on your journey. It's all here. It's possible. This world is abundant. This world is creative. And yes, it is asking you to be a co-creator. So I hope you enjoy this. Share it with anyone you love. And here's to your inner creator. Wow. Okay. Well, then let's just start. I want to know about how you started acting.
Yeah, so I've been doing like community theater since I was a little kid, and that was what I most loved growing up, was just putting on plays with my friends, you know what I mean? And then that kind of morphed into making my own comedy videos with friends in high school and stuff. And then I went to college and majored in acting, and yeah, so it's kind of been like, as a kid, it was the thing that was like, oh, this is the most fun and the thing that I'm best at, so I'll just do this. Yeah. And then I think the directing, producing came in as like a money-making thing, but also that was something I realized I was sort of naturally doing as well from like high school on. I realized in hindsight, like, oh, all those comedy videos I made with my friends, I was kind of the one making that happen. Like, I didn't realize at the time, but I'm like, no one else was like, let's shoot a video of us doing this crazy thing. I was kind of the one that was basically being the director without thinking about it.
Well, that's interesting too. I mean, this, as you know, like the human design work is, I'm kind of really entering into that study even more and more, knowing you're a pure generator and that you thrive off of having these other people around you. And just because I know our work together has been really focused on you letting the actor, the actress come out. And at the same time, I feel like there's also such ease and competence and confidence and clarity around you as the director too. You know, so I don't know. I think I just wanted to say that and celebrate it, because I feel like culturally we can get pressured. I think this is changing, but I have to be this and I can't be that. Or if I'm not this, or if I'm this, then I'm not that. And that means something. But I just feel like there's a really incredible fluidity in how you do that. And even hearing that you were doing that as a kid, you know, that this is just like the continuation of it. And now you've been able to direct some of your heroes. I don't know. I'm just kind of curious for you right now, how even hearing my saying that to you, how that feels, and knowing you're working with an agent now, and like, what's the current arrangement of all of that in your body, mind, spirit?
I think the past couple of years have been like, for a while, it was about accepting like that I can do all these things and that it can be okay. You know, that, oh, I can be an actor and a director and a writer. And in fact, they all inform and enhance each other, instead of like worrying that people are going to take me seriously as a director if I also admit that I'm an actor, or, you know. And I think that I had so much growth with that, but I do think that there's kind of a pendulum swing that happens naturally. So like, I'll be doing a lot more directing work, or maybe that just comes easier at times. So for me, that especially like the past 2 years, it was really about like refocusing, like, but wait, I really love performing and I want to honor that and play in that space and not just like deny that part of myself. So I've been really doing like, I think, a beautiful mix of all of the things. And I feel like I've had to be intentional about the acting thing because it was the thing that would more naturally atrophy, but I've certainly seen the results of that, of me shifting my focus and energy towards that, and then seeing opportunities come, and being really intentional about it. But I think that there was like a period, like I think I still fight a little bit internally with definitely this first half of this year. I think when I was really focused on this like getting on camera thing on the show, and then it's like, of course, whenever I let that resistance go and just accept what came my way, which would be like some beautiful unexpected offering of asking me to direct something for the show that I wasn't expecting, and then I do it and it's like, oh, that was actually really fun and great, and then I also got an acting opportunity after it. You know what I mean? So like, because it was my job, I had to allow the directing thing to happen. And it was a huge gift when it did. And the acting stuff also just like came about really naturally and not the ways that I was expecting. And then it was just like one thing after another. The email came from the producer of our show, like, would anyone like to submit? It was just like an open invitation, and so then I was able to respond to that by sharing my preferences and submitting a tape. And then it was, okay, well, we're not going to be offering you this thing right now, but we'd like you to perform in these other ways. And so it was like, okay, what's that going to look like? And then with that, I also felt like now I have to do X, Y, or Z to make this be something. And instead, none of my ideas for how I might make that performing opportunity happen came about. Instead, I was offered unexpected performing opportunities by other people on the show, and I did them, and they were great and really fun. Basically, the last thing that happened on the show before it ended for now is I got asked to be in a piece that I also got asked to direct. And it was like me and one of my favorite correspondents, this woman, Desi, who's so lovely and became really like unexpected, like champion and supporter of me. Like, so I just have to say, it's not about, destination thinking or whatever. But when you and I first started doing our VIP days together, I was unemployed. I didn't have a job. And the goal we decided to focus on was becoming a correspondent on the Daily Show. And within 3 months of that, maybe, I'd been offered a job on the Daily Show as a director. And then now here we are, whatever, year and a half later. Yeah. And I was getting to act and co-create in something for the show.
Yeah. Oh my God. I was an insider on a lot of your journey, not all of it, but to kind of just to be able to witness the growth that happened for you. And I'm so curious, because we haven't spoken in a while, like what continues. I think there's something that I feel like was something we worked on. The words you said are, I just had to admit that I'm an actor. I don't know, talking to you now, it just feels like, oh, there's a different level of ease in that. Not only an actor, but that you also like making money. I don't know, like that wasn't the leading thing ever, but it was, I think seeing you do this big move in your apartment, allowing yourself to, you would inspire me, because you'd say, okay, we didn't know how we'd have money to buy this nice car that we wanted, but we got it. And I think what's interesting in the work that I've been doing too, just because I keep growing in this work as well, is like, what's true for you? Like, the money and the car don't matter, but if they're a part of what's your signature and your design and your ease and your abundance, and I can help you kind of stretch into that, I feel satisfied. this word, these words admitting that I'm an actor, removing the black and white thinking, even though it's still there to some extent. I think this beautiful transition, you had a really clear, but I think we had sort of been cultivating to trust your yes, no compass. I don't know. I guess I'm just maybe just celebrating as reflecting on what you said, letting the resistance go. Cause I saw you through those moments of like, and we tried to be like, okay, when are you going to do the correspondent piece? When are you going to do this piece? And then it just would never happen. And I'd talk to you later and you'd be like, oh yeah. So it's an interesting, I feel like this work is so much about like increasingly, which is how I used to teach with dance too, is like, here's some tools, here's an environment, like what's your response, especially for you, because you're a person who responds. I guess my question, like what can you see from 2018 to now that has transformed for you?
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, I definitely have a totally different mindset around abundance and prosperity and money. And it just feels more open and easeful. I say this now, I mean, whatever, I'm going to go there. We're in a moment right now. Okay. But, I think I'm handling the moment better than I would have before.
Well, I can say something to that. Yeah. Like, I understand, we're in a moment where there's a strike going on, right? Like what kind of work can you who knows? But I feel like even with what you just reflected some minutes ago, it's like, surprise, here it is.
It's also seeing, the panic. Part of why I was awake, I only got 4 hours sleep. I woke up with crazy anxiety and couldn't get back to sleep because of money stuff right now. But I can see it now and go like the trust muscle, like I'm just aware of the trust muscle. And I'm just like, I can see myself going down the road of like, oh my God, I don't have a job right now. And they raised our rent 30%. And oh my God, where in the past I might have spiraled so much harder and gone into some sort of regret story about, oh no, I shouldn't have made these choices. What was I thinking we could have this more expensive place, XX nix. Instead, it's like, oh, okay, this is happening right now and it's okay. Like, and there will be more, and we'll be taken care of. It's just like, I can see the story rising up and I have more tools now to like undercut the story or just swipe it to the side and just really practice the trust muscle of just like, okay, yes, maybe things feel this way right now and this is the numbers in the bank account, but like I'm trusting like it's going to work out. Like we need this much to hit this, like we need this much in 2 weeks. Can we do that? Yes. We need this much by Thursday. Can we do that? Yes. And still things are happening that are like exactly what we've practiced and I worked on before of like, okay, I'm going to do these commercial auditions, like to get, that's the source of income. And then like the ones I'm trying out for, I don't get a call back. And then suddenly I get offered a different job that I didn't know I was even submitted for. And I do this print modeling thing, which is like the best, easiest money I've ever made. And I was like, this fucking rocks. What have I been thinking? Not doing this for the past. It's like now I'm in my late 30s. Like modeling was always something that was like brought up at different times. And I just like shushed it away as like shallow or why would I spend my time that way? And now I'm like, oh, I get to play the mom now. Like print modeling is obviously its own genre of, and like, I'm like, so I get to wear a cardigan and a comfortable shoe. Sign me up, And so like I did this print shoot that paid me like, $4,000 for a day. That was like, that experience of like, it's coming in this unexpected way. And actually the way that it did come in was easier than I possibly could have imagined. I didn't even have to audition for it. I didn't even know I was submitted. They just sent my photo in and I was chosen. At that shoot, I was like, I want to be a print model. Like, I was like, this is the golden ticket, like to how to be making money, whatever, in an easy way, in addition to other things I'm doing. So I haven't really followed up on that beyond, I emailed my agents about it, but yeah, who knows? We'll see if it happens. But I was like, I gotta keep going down this road.
Yeah. I mean, the cool thing, I feel like you've probably heard me say this a lot because I feel like you did become the good student in the room. So laws. You're like, isn't that the law of the law of perpetual transmutation, right? Like you're putting the energy out there and here it comes. It's going to come. It's going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you put out there. So I don't know. That's really cool to hear. I didn't know about the print modeling thing and I can't wait.
The Daily Show thing, obviously, like that, honoring my desire there and like stepping forward with it and trusting each step of the way, like listening to my yes, no. Do I want to take this job on the Daily Show that's directing and it's not performing, but in my head, cognitively, but I want to perform. Do I want this job? Yes. Okay, I'm saying yes. You know what I mean? And next, and then getting the opportunity to audition and then letting things unfold in this way that just, was kind of just different and better than I could have imagined. And then I end up like in 3 sketches on the Daily Show. And along the way, obviously, meeting all these amazing people, building all these relationships, and just like getting to play with such funny, talented people is just like such a gift. And making more money than I've ever made before. So that was huge. I mean, to be making the income I was making, it was like, wow, this is okay. It was crazy. I went to like a performance art type Brooklyn comedy weird show recently, and the guy on stage did this thing where he made everyone raise their hands about how much money they'd made. It's like, raise your hand if you make over $20,000 a year. And then he kept upping the number and people were supposed to drop their hands. And by like a certain number, like once we got over like 100K, it was me and like 4 white dudes over 50. And then when he got over 150K a year, it was me and one other old white guy. And the guy on stage, thank God, because I was so embarrassed. I was with friends who are like artists and are looking at me like their jaws on the floor. And I looked at the guy on stage, didn't even see me. I'm like, of course, he doesn't see the woman making over 150K. It's just blind to me. But I really felt like such a badass in that moment. I was like, look at me. I'm in this theater full of like New York artists, and like, I'm also an artist, and I'm fucking standing shoulder to shoulder with these white guys that are 60 years old and software developers,
Mm-hmm. Wow.
That was a cool moment.
I think it is an intense moment as an artist. I mean, I feel like my healing and coaching work is my artistry too, so I don't separate it, but you've really done it as an artist. In 2018, did you imagine you'd have this job or be directing I'm going to get their names wrong, so I'm not even going to say them.
Sarah Silverman.
And
Leslie Jones, Marlon Wayans. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to make this too long, but I guess I'm curious, like 5 lessons that you've learned that have really supported you.
The leaping. Making the investment in my first coaching. I mean, I was unemployed. I was living off unemployment then. And I did that, and used my savings to do it. And then, I ended up getting hired on this job where I was making tons of money. And each time it was like, every time it became a little easier, but it was hard for me every time to make the investment. And I knew that my answer was yes, I want to keep doing this, and I knew I needed it and that it was helping me, but it was still really hard and scary every time, because each time I would think, okay, I'm just going to get through this coaching package, and at the end of that, we're not spending any more money on coaching, okay? But like, then the benefits would be so great and I would be making money back. Just anytime I find myself faced with like a leaping type decision, this moving into this apartment, it was like, oh my God, the rent's twice as much. And all the stories about why we shouldn't let go of our old apartment, and, just the training of doing it over and over, you get more confident or just build the muscles to do it. Something that came up in our first VIP day was play. Like, there was this big thing about like my inner child, like wanting to find her way to play and explore that. And I had this, inkling about clown that I was curious about. And so like a year and a half ago now, or a year and a few months, I took the leap and went to clown school in France with my friend Sunitha, which was like a fucking gaga cuckoo dream come true. I didn't believe Sunitha was coming with me until we were on the plane together, and neither did she, because she's like a quite busy working actress and her schedule is so unpredictable. And it was like, oh my God, that would be so fun if we went together. And she was inspired by me, you know what I mean? The way she ended up coming was me telling her, I'm going to do this crazy thing and go to this clown school. And she's like, can I do that with you? You know what I mean? And it just kind of cracked open the clown barrel of monkeys, and like my clown journey began. But that was a little over a year ago now. And basically it led to me following that curiosity, led to me then going to Celebration Barn in Maine last summer, meeting my teacher, Aitor, who's the Spanish guy, who's incredible, getting so much out of that experience, then doing another course with him in November in New York, meeting this actress who I've admired for years. I love her show. And she was in my class and we became friends. And she was like fangirling me about my clowning. And I'm thinking like, what? Meanwhile, I'm wearing like a wig and like a dress with my underwear sticking out.
You just had to put this on.
Have you been holding that the whole time below the desk?
It was over there.
Okay.
But since we're talking, I was like, when's the moment?
Yeah. Oh my God. Wait.
To honor you.
Okay. So anyway, that was just like that encouragement of like, okay, I'm going to honor this need to play. Like, I want to do this. I'm going to clown school in France. And then it became this whole thing where now I've been doing clown stuff for a year, and I am part of a clown collective that has formed in New York. This thing forming and this becoming this group, I met these amazing other creative people. It's like being in an experimental theater group is what it feels like. And just having that space where we get together every week and play, like dick around and do silly shit, and it's so supportive. I think that helped me so. It was like feeding my soul so much. And then I think that led to me getting back into the stand-up thing, which I really wanted to do for so long, but had so much fear and resistance. I started doing mics again, and I think I was getting I was just enjoying it more because I had this, like my relationship to the audience had changed because of clowning. I didn't feel so scared and judged. I felt more open and wanting to connect to the audience. So the stand-up was actually more enjoyable than it had been when I tried it before. And then very organically, two of my friends from The Daily Show asked me to start a show with them. And so we started this show Party Hat, which we've done like 3 shows now. It's monthly, but it's been so fun. Everyone wears party hats in the audience. And we get to ask our favorite comics to be on it. And it's just like every time I have anxiety and resistance leading up to the show, and then we do the show and it's fucking so fun. And I feel amazing on the other side of it. So it's like a monthly exercise in pushing through the resistance. But that has been, that was like a dream of mine to like host a stand-up show with, fellow female comics.
As a like a fellow performing artist too. And I haven't seen, I've seen the stuff on The Daily Show, which is awesome, but like, I feel like as an artist, I also get to watch you develop artistically, not just like all this mindset stuff. And I know we didn't do our 5 lessons. You probably forgot about it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry. I keep nodding.
I think we got 2.
Like, aren't you supposed to be good at responding? You're not responding to the question very well.
I know we can kind of just go like this. So I feel like there's like a different level of security it's just fascinating for me because I know this happened in my own journey. Like the more I was working on my own personal development, spirituality and healing, my dancing totally changed. And I don't know if we ever explicitly made that parallel, or if you even feel that, or if I'm just making that up from my own experience, it seems like it wouldn't be right to think that all of these shifts within you that they wouldn't change you, or that they are going to change who shows up as the performer.
Well, I think like now that you mentioned that, I think like a good example is like, yes, I think my mindset around performing has loosened, and I've just become a little more like confident and free and non-judgmental of myself in that space. I mean, of course, I'm still can be hard on myself, but so much less than before. Before that was in a way that could be paralyzing or stop me from doing things. Now I'm much more likely to #Nike, just do it. And by way of example, last year, this was another, take the step and then another thing shows up example. When I was at clown school, my manager at the time emailed me that she had an audition for me for JFL, which is the Just for Laughs Comedy Festival. It's like the biggest industry showcase. I auditioned last year in LA. It was very unexpected. I felt rushed to come up with some characters to do, and you were coaching with me at the time, and I was like in agony over basically trying to revive these old characters I had, and then feeling judgmental of some of them, or thinking maybe one hadn't aged well and is it going to be offensive. And I was racked with anxiety about these characters, but I felt attached to doing what I had because I didn't have anything else yet, and I didn't have time to cut to this year. I got an audition again, and I was like, well, for one, I was just like, oh, what would be fun? It was a different attitude. Like, what would be fun to do? And I had learned from the previous experience about like what plays well for the audience, like, oh, that was a learning experience. So I did, well, one, I had a new clown character that I had tried, like very physical dance-based character that I would never have. I mean, that was insane. I wouldn't have even occurred to me to do that a year ago, because I'd be like, there's no words. I'm just, I don't even talk. That's not a character. Oh, it is. Like, it's funny and it is a character. The audience laughs, Point being, I just was much looser around the whole thing and having fun and doing clown characters that I now had because I'd been doing clowning. I got a call back. So I was like shocked and delighted. Then for my callback, I was like, well, I want to do it. Like, instead of thinking, oh my God, how do I get this and do it perfectly a second time and fix what I did wrong last time? I was like, what an opportunity to perform and maybe get another new character out of this. My whole attitude and approach to the audition process this year versus last year was like night and day in terms of having it be a fun experience for me, being loose about it, focusing on how to connect with the audience instead of, oh no, they're not going to like me, or, is this joke going to be offensive? Like, I definitely, and I tie all that to the clowning, but it's probably also the coaching, and the coaching is part of what made me even do the clowning. So
yeah, I mean, as you're saying this too, I feel like you can share however you want, of course, however you want to around this, but the word love is just coming up.
Yeah. And I think about that all the time too.
Mm-hmm.
Because you keyed me into that, like the heart center and like the love bug. And that's like my cornerstone. You know what I mean? Like when I'm feeling out of whack, or it's just like, okay, like what would love do? Or like lead with love, or like, what would love do for myself too when I'm feeling in a tough spot? It's like taking a beat and being like, what would love do right now? And then I'm like, oh, love would like be like, I'm gonna lie down and rest right now. You know what I mean? Instead of trying to force myself to keep working on this email or whatever,
Yeah, that's where we can the just do it.
Yeah.
There's like moments for it, but I feel like I don't know. I just want to stay on this love thing for a second because I'm a little moved too from seeing how you show up very lovingly for other people in the room.
Yeah, and I think of that as part of my role now too. I'm like, yeah, that's what I should be doing. I mean, I want to do that, and then when the impulse comes up, I just do it
Yeah.
instead of being like, I don't know, I just don't question it.
Yeah.
And my also another thing I did, on the leap list was like signing up for this meditation retreat in Sedona last year that I probably would have been like, I don't know, that's crazy. It's too much money. Bup, bup, bup. So glad I did it. And I got a heart-shaped crystal there.
Uh-huh.
Is also like, I wouldn't have gotten that without this coaching. It's like a thing where I'm like, you're buying $100 crystal. What are you doing? I realize they can be a lot more expensive than that.
And I'm like, that's cheap.
Yeah, but it was just like, no, I want this, and yes, I'm getting it. And now it's like, yeah, I have it, and I just like, I can hold that on my heart whenever I want to like tune into that space. And sometimes I've started even bringing it, like if I'm feeling like depleted or stressed and I'm going to a shoot or something, I'm like, I put my heart crystal in a bag, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm putting added weight in my bag right now, but but I do it, and I believe, I have to believe that it helps me.
Wow. Maybe because we're also not in the coaching container right now. I feel like there's like a wholeness in you that is post-COVID, whatever, but just there's just like a groundedness to it. I feel like there's a self-acceptance, there's a trust. And I know we didn't really go through, I think you did mention more than 5 lessons or whatever, like just
leaps. I talked about the leaps. I think that's maybe one lesson. Love, like it's always love, is lesson number 2, or really that should be number 1.
You said play. I didn't know. I was sort of thinking that was a lesson also.
I think I would put that in the category of just like leaning into trust, like basically trust what I want, like, and it's valid, act on it, abundance in nature. I love the way you told that story about like how you would program your own mind, like looking for abundance everywhere and clocking it. Abundance. Oh, what? Look at that plate full of muffins. Abundance. Look at that bush full of bushes, or bush full of flowers. Abundance. And so I do that game too sometimes. And yeah, I just think it's such a beautiful reminder of you being like, nature is just being so abundant all the time. And why not? Why not operate in that way too, of assuming that I should be blooming and that I should be happy? I think that I've really realized how much this is like a really subtle thing, but like that actually I was operating on like a not allowing myself to really be happy. Like, because that would be too blank, threatening to other people, scary. Maybe someone would be jealous and then they wouldn't like me. Really realizing how there's this cap that it's like, well, this is comfortable. I should just sort of feel this way. So that's something I feel like I'm working on now more and more. It just like, wait, what if the universe, whatever, life wanted me to be happy, joyful, like full, like explosively, like a firework or a flower, allow, like letting the idea also of like that things can be easy. That came up with the Walmart job and so many other things where you're like, I was getting worried about, well, what if this becomes too stressful and it's too much work on top of my other job? And you were like, whoa. Like this other guy I know says, like, don't borrow trouble from the future. Like, what if you just allowed it to be easy and believed that you could do this job and it could be easy and pay well? And so that was like my practice with that job. And then that is what happened.
Yeah. I remember you being like, shouldn't I be working more? Shouldn't I
Oh
be?
yeah. Oh, that's been and that's been in my job. I mean, I'm like, that's been such a process because I come from like service industry, working class, like family mentality of just like you clock in, you're working the whole time, you clock out. Like, and so to be in a job where like sometimes I don't have to be doing that much. And then there's moments of intense work, but then there's moments of like it's a complete override of my mental framework about work and that I've had to be okay with.
Yeah. And I would say for you, because you are such a worker, you're such a powerhouse that you're working on what's important for you.
Exactly. And that's been, oh my God, so much of the show was like trusting, like, and this was through the coaching, like that I was able to work, I think, have this mindset was like trusting, like, no, I don't need to do anything right now. I'll know when I need to do something, and then I will work hard and do a great job. I'm not going to spin my wheels and try to look busy for other people. Like that was just like a constant practice of basically it's self-trust.
Mm-hmm. It's also your human design mechanics. Like you're here to respond. If there's no one, because I feel like you also then got to respond to, I'm going to do this other thing now because no one's asking me to do something.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so a lot of things got to blossom.
Yeah. And then they would often ask me to do the things that would be like very last minute and like highly pressurized, and I can do those well, you know?
Yeah, you can. Okay. Well, then my last question, we would be, or is just, what do you want to do next? If you want to share any of that with trust, and maybe that we can call it in.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm like in this open, expansive, unknown space right now. I want to make a one-woman show to take to Fringe next year. I don't know where that, I mean, came from. Mother, I just came up. I'm like, okay, I think I want to do that. That seems kind of crazy, but I think I want to do that. And I want to be an actress and get cast on a TV show, like as a series regular, ideally. And I want to make a documentary about crossing guards.
I don't think I heard this one yet.
No, yeah, but it's been. Yeah, I want to have a baby. I think I don't know. I felt so, there's been that's been so it's been like it's not time yet. It's not time yet, but I do think I want that. But I yeah, I don't know. That's been an interesting one. What do I want to do next?
I mean, that's a lot.
I know, yeah. I really want to be like making a great career as a performer. Yeah, an actress and creator.
Yeah.
I
Well,
want to keep my apartment.
you want to what?
I want to keep my apartment.
Yeah. Well, I trust you.
I want to keep doing stand-up and clown.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what's so cool. Like I feel like the celebrations, which there's more, I'll just like have to email you a list, but you know I'm good with lists.
Yeah, you are.
Like it's just so funny how the things that really like filled my soul and made me feel like what is like most exciting to me. I mean, yeah, it was great to make a lot of money. That was very supportive feeling, and it was awesome to get to be on the Daily Show and build these friendships with the correspondents that I wasn't expecting. It was awesome to move to this beautiful, spacious, much nicer, luxurious apartment. But like when I'm like, what's like making me happy? It's like the clown group and the stand-up show, like these things that are actually just kind of like ongoing practices that are artistic and creative, and that are like in collaboration with other creative people, and we're kind of like on this journey together. You know, it's not, it's, and there's both those things are so not product oriented. I mean, we are putting on a show every month with Party Hat, but it's an ongoing process, you know. And the clown group, we did a show sort of in April, but like we were so unattached to even whether we were going to do a show or not. It was like, we're just experimenting, you know. So I feel like really lucky that those things have come together this year. And cause and effect, Michelle, how could I not mention this lesson? This is such a big one. Is just keying into that cause and effect thing and allowing myself to see, like, I helped make this happen. Like this clown group, I helped that happen by being at the first meeting with people that someone else initiated, but then I had the idea of us, how we should get together as a group and have an outside coach. And that gave us a framework. And then that outside coach, our first rehearsal was magic. And that person became our director and he's part of the group now. You know, it's like, and with the stand-up show, like it was brought to me by these friends, but like I made that happen by going to open mics and putting myself out there as a stand-up comedian. And, you know,
Totally. It's so mechanically appropriate, right? You're not meant to initiate the thing, but I feel like you're in the energy, you're putting the desire out there, which is a response.
Yeah.
And the universe responds. And then when you're in there, it's like, I've seen this with you a number of times. We've had a session and then I just see you like I have this image of you surrounded by others, and then you shine, then you're on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think you don't have to do it alone was a big one.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
You're not designed to.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have to say, I just feel like, you know, for me, so much of the coaching is like, you are just this constant like emblem of like abundance and abundance thinking and like hope and positive thinking and like belief and like healing and love. It's just like touching, you know, contact with you is like, you know, locks me into that energy. Like it reminds me of those energies, just being in connection with you. So like anytime we'd have a coaching session, it's like, it's, you know, just the contact with your way of being and mindset and way of seeing the world is like transformative for me every time. It's like resets. It's like a reminder for me.
Mm. That moves me because these last like 10, 15 minutes or more, but I'm just sitting here looking at you and like, oh, so much brilliance, so much beauty, so much life. So, you know, it's always, and I love an artist, you know, and a performer. So I think I just want to say thank you. Thank you for, we went in a lot of places, I feel like, and I'm looking at you with a lot of excitement and trust. I said that earlier. I trust you.
Yeah. Well, I have you in my pocket. That's my secret. You're in my pocket. So it's just like my little Michelle coach is like in my pocket that I can just like ask or question or have her remind me of something. And it's just like a little Michelle action figure.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't have an app yet, but maybe the action figures first.
Oh, well, the action figure you have to make talk yourself. So the app would be better unless you give the action figure a pull string so it can say a few catchphrases, you know, like abundance in nature.
Well, okay, my glasses are foggy. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Michelle. Oh my God. Thank you so much. I mean, you've absolutely saved me and helped me to transform my life and keep stepping into my own life. So thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. I would love to hear your takeaways in the comments below, so please type them in. And of course, like the video and subscribe to my channel, as we will be posting more of these conversations and other great content. And why not share this with a friend or loved one that comes to mind? Who is that person? There's real power in connections, especially when we're taking a transformational journey. If you want to connect with me about the work I do with creatives, wellness practitioners, artists, etc., please send us an email at info@michelleboulé.com. Have the most wonderful rest of your day, and here is to your abundant, boundless creativity.